And welcome to Flightdeck Live, powered by SportBuff. If you go to sportbuffshop.com and use the code ALS, Flightdeck 10 at checkout, you will save 10% off your entire order. I'm Tim Capper, along with Cliffy D. Pine from Fisher Molson Stadium, where the Alouettes' woes continue. Just with another quarterback.
Same verse, second verse, same as the first. Or I guess third, fourth.
Fourth.
Yeah.
The fourth verse.
The same old song. I can go on with this, but yeah. Once again, another close to sellout crowd, unfortunately, shows up, and the Alouettes did for the most part, but then ultimately decided to hit the bye week a little bit early.
Yeah, everything seemed. Owls lose 26-13. There were some positive, there were some negatives for this game, but the problem is, though, that there have been just some consistencies over the last couple of weeks. Yes, we do understand that there is currently an issue when it comes to the quarterbacks. And what I think really, and I have still not asked about this from league, stats guru Steve Daniel, if this is an unprecedented type of thing that has occurred where you have all three quarterbacks that start as 1, 2, 3 on your depth chart coming out of camp, and all are on the 6-game injured list.
That's got to be some unprecedented territory as far as I'm concerned. I mean, every team goes through injury woes, so you can't even use it as an excuse, but to have your starting quarterback, your backup, your third string, you are now on your fourth string quarterback this year, and it's when you factor in the fact to be playing a short week. I mean, the Alouettes just played a game this past Saturday.
Yeah,
one practice day essentially, a walkthrough, and then come out and play again the 5-time now defending Western Division champion Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Yeah,
I mean, again, they're going through their woes as well. They've gone through injury issues as well. I mean, these two teams I feel were as evenly matched as you could hope for this evening, all things considered. But Winnipeg showed why that you never truly can count them out, can you?
No, and the last couple times that the Alouettes have played the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, they've been able to really control the running game, especially Brady Oliveira. Wasn't the case this time around in any way, shape, or form. And there were a lot of things that really mimicked last week's loss in BC. But it's just, again, it seems to be a consistent thing over the past couple of weeks. The team cannot get anything going when it comes to offensively. It really does show with the defense, even though the defense, it's still showing out like they normally do, but because they're on the field so long, I think it really has hurt them in the long run. And we can only hope once we get some of our main starters back, the name players, that maybe it will make a difference and we can keep this defense, to use another term we use for quarterbacks, keep them upright and off the field.
It would be helpful because, this defense does play extremely good football at the best of times, but right now it almost feels like they're getting exposed, like they're being figured out, and that's not a good sign. Like it almost feels like they're relying on their old tricks that worked great at the start of the season, but now that teams have been able to watch film and see what they're able to do, it's almost like they've run out of ideas. Like, I mean, I feel like we're watching the same thing over and over and over again over the past 4 weeks or past 4 games even, and just doesn't feel like there's an answer here. That's the troubling part. I mean, the offensive woes are not great by any stretch, but when you see that, it's not like you can even say, well, at least the defense is going to keep this team into the game. They haven't been doing that. I mean, they've had spurts of greatness, but by and large, this defense, when they say what your record says you are, that speaks to this defense as well.
It really does. The Owls have now lost 4 straight. They're heading into a bye week. I'm sure a well-needed bye week, actually, from a couple of the players that we did speak with post-game.
Yeah, this bye week couldn't have come at a better time. I mean, I think now that they really do need to rest, recover, disconnect, do whatever it takes to take their mind off football and the woes that's been going on with them for basically the month of August. The month of August has basically been a write-off for the Montreal Alouettes.
It has. And tonight's game in itself, Cliff, I mean, we've seen this. It wasn't the case earlier in the season with Davis Alexander under center. The Owls with James Morgan's first CFL start of his career. They were mediocre in the first, did well in the second and the third, were mediocre in the fourth quarter, but still, they were still close. But as we know, close is close. Yeah, it's not a win.
Close only what counts in horseshoes and hand grenades.
Thank you. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And again, for this game tonight, there were just a few things that we wish could have gone better. Some things, we finally got some guys involved in the offense, which is fantastic to see. To be fair, despite what James' stats were tonight, he had a pretty solid start.
It really was not bad. It was not bad. It was not great.
No.
The interception that he threw in the first half, or was it? No, sorry. Was it the first one? I think.
Well, we know it was one in the fourth quarter. It was bound to happen. I mean,
right. But there's basically, I guess the best way to look at it was almost like a punt in the sense that the Alouettes were backed up in their own end for quite some time, and he just hucked up a prayer, and unfortunately, the prayer did not get answered, unless Evan Holm picking off the ball is considered an answer, because that's exactly what happened. And the Bombers got to start at midfield. And I believe that actually turned into 3 points for the Blue Bombers as well. So, I mean, points off turnovers is going to sink anyone. Penalties also. I mean, Dylan Wynn with roughing the passer.
Yeah,
penalty that put Zach Caleros and company basically at the doorstep of the Montreal Alouettes.
For the first, that was our first touchdown, I think, of the game, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, as I said, we look at Morgan. He was 18 of 33 for 198 yards, not as good as he was last week in his season debut in BC. Touchdown and 2 interceptions. And one thing I at least want to do is I want to center on is that touchdown. Because that drive itself, the Alouettes' lone touchdown, this is another thing we've been talking about, bad consistency that the Owls have been having. Mm-hmm. That was their touchdown of the game. They have 4 offensive touchdowns in 5 games. You're not going to win. You're not going to win games in that case. But
even if Jose Maltos Diaz is your field goal kicker, you're not going to beat teams like Saskatchewan, Edmonton, Winnipeg, BC. You're not going to beat these teams just kicking field goals. And that was made painfully clear. Even if there's just a shadow of a doubt that maybe you could, I'm sorry to say, as good as Jose Maltos Diaz has been, he's been money more often than not. You got to score touchdowns. More than 1 per game would be ideal, but
it would be ideal. And what's funny is that we actually spoke with him post game with Tyler Sneed. He was the one that was involved in that drive itself. First he had that long, beautiful flea flicker.
Gadget play.
So okay, go gadget play, gadget play. Yeah. I was thinking the Wonder Twins was a form of something, but anyways, but he was involved in that. He basically, his trick play set up his TD reception for the only touchdown of the game.
Yeah, and that was a strike thrown by James Morgan right to the hands of Tyler Sneed. And yeah, that drive, if the Alouettes could have had 2 or 3 more like that, we'd be talking about a different game altogether.
Yeah.
But the fact that the Alouettes, it feels like they can put together drives that can put points on the board, but it's as you said, it's consistently not enough. And it almost makes you wonder, like, what's the answer here? What can be done other than changing up the play calling? Because right now, I don't know if it's Anthony Calvillo who's supposed to be taking back the play calling duties, or if it's still Jason Moss. But what's being done now, and maybe it really truly is a matter of trying to run an offense that highlights the capabilities, if you will, of whoever the quarterback is, whether it was McLeod Bethel Thompson, Caleb Evans for a little bit, or now in this case James Morgan. It's tough. I get that. To try and tailor the offense to your quarterback,
right?
Easier said than done.
No, but it's true. But I think a lot of things too, and it's not just from us. We are hearing other grumblings too from the crowd. I think they're just getting tired. Despite the quarterback. These quarterbacks, whoever it may be, who is starting for the Owls or playing for the Owls, it just seems to be a copy and repeat when it comes to these simple 3 to 5 yard outs, which are getting so frustrating. That's why it was so nice to see James Morgan go deep tonight on more than one occasion. But yet, they got away from that. And despite being only down 3 points in the third quarter, they got away from the run.
And once again, Travis Tice was playing outstanding football, giving him the rock and making things happen. I mean, once again, I know this is a passing league. I get that. But, I mean, you've got essentially A.J. Ouellette 2.0. Given the opportunity to be that bell cow running back that can bowl people over and make plays happen. And what I could not believe, and maybe I shouldn't be so surprised at it, it was just how easily, on the flip side, the offensive line for Winnipeg was able to open up those holes for Brady Oliveira to just, I think he averaged like 10 yards per carry, if I'm not mistaken.
Brady Oliveira for the day had 16 rushes for 137 yards.
Pretty darn close. I mean, that's
and a touchdown. And by the way, it could be sour grapes, but them padding his rushing stats in the fourth quarter when they could easily have knelt the ball with 40 plus seconds to go. I mean, come on. Come on. But anyways, I digress.
Well, listen, if he'd gotten hurt, then they would have regretted it. But
yeah. Now we're talking about the Tyler Snead's, by the way, pass was his gadget play was 44 yards. On top of
did MBT even come close to throwing 44 yards like
in a single play,
or is it cumulative?
I will
asking for a friend.
I will just continue to say this: the MBT that played in Edmonton last year was a lot better quarterback than the MBT that we have this year in Montreal. Whether it was the known injury or now known injury that he currently has, that him on the 6-game injured list, or not. MBT, despite his record last year in Edmonton, he was a better quarterback.
Was being the operative term here.
Travis Tice, we're talking about that. Travis Tice had 8 attempts tonight, 36 yards. He did lead the team. Stevie Scott showed some brilliance at one point, but they just stopped going to him, which I don't get. A leading receiver for the Alouettes tonight. Finally, this guy, a couple of weeks in, we finally got him. Hollins, 5 receptions, 132 yards. At one point, it was really him and the Tyler Snead show.
Pretty much. And that, interesting enough, that's who Tyler Snead connected with on that gadget. Yeah. It was Alexander Hollins.
Yeah.
Looked really good. I mean, he had himself a game, which is absolutely fantastic. And that's what we've been waiting to see ever since he signed with Montreal. Is we've been waiting for him to have that sort of breakout moment. And I guess maybe it really came down to playing with James Morgan as opposed to the other quarterbacks that tried to run things since Hollins got here.
Yeah, again, that's true. I mean, Snead was second on the team with 56 yards. He did have that one touchdown. Najee Murray and Isaac Ademi-Berglund had sacks on the night. That's Isaac's 8th on the year, tying his career high. We did speak with him quickly after post-game.
Yep.
The players are somber. I mean, we had to speak with Tyler Snead also post-game too. So
yeah, I mean, you could tell they were disappointed in themselves. They were upset about the fact that it just wasn't happening. Getting love, man. Appreciate it. Sorry, man. Joey Alfieri showing the love, which is appreciated.
Yeah,
as always.
So. But yeah, again, it's funny, and you know, we talk with the players post game. We hear what they have to say, and obviously, it's funny to say, and it's not made it derogatory. Is that they are still buying in to what Coach Moss is preaching. And again, the word, I think using buying in may come off a little bit negative, but I think they still believe, and it shows that they still believe. And I think what's funny is that we were able to speak with an Alouettes alum tonight, who hasn't played football in X years, hasn't been here in Montreal in a few, but yet you'd think he was on the team because of how he comment on how this team is going to get better when they get all these players back.
So that's it. Like, this is an alumni who, again, has no ties to the team. He's not paid by the team or anything like that. He just loves, being a former member of this organization, and he believes. He knows this team's going to get themselves right. He has that faith.
Yeah.
I think most of Alouettes Nation deep down have that faith as well. I know it's tough, especially when the team's going through a 4-game losing streak. It's tough to maintain that faith. And the only thing I can say at that point is, as we talked about on the show this week, is we just got to get through this little hump. I mean, that's really what it is right now. Mm-hmm. It's just, you're on the schneid right now, and you got to get off the schneid. And once these guys, these Davis Alexanders, the Tyson Philpotts, the Marc-Antoine Dequois, all the real, true, bona fide superstars that we know can play at an extreme level and bring this team to an elite level as well. Once we get these guys back in the lineup, this is going to be a whole new team. This is going to be a whole new look. And as we talked about with everybody, and everybody's in agreement that it really does come down to catching fire at the right time. Because you don't win the Grey Cup in August. You can lose the Grey Cup in August, and that is definitely a concern. But ultimately, we'll see what happens once the Labor Day bye week is over. This team comes back, hopefully refocused, energized, motivated too.
Right. Things do have to change, though. Things do need to change. They need to get better. As I said, the defense is, I think, despite how good we're seeing, how well the defense is doing, they're still on the field too long because of the woes within the offense. And, for the last 2 weeks, Cliff, the defense has really gotten torched surgically.
Yeah.
2 weeks in a row by Nathan Rourke, and then, of course, this week by Zach Caleros. I mean, Zach had four incompletions tonight. That's it.
That's wild.
That's it.
And this is Zach Caleros, who wasn't healthy to start the year.
No.
He, too, had some inconsistencies as well. But I don't know. Maybe there's just something about coming to Montreal that just awakens certain things in certain Bombers. Like I said, Brady Oliveira.
Yeah.
Been pretty quiet to start the season. But he's coming alive, ideally, for Bomber fans at the right time.
Yeah.
Zach Caleros getting things figured out. I mean, Nick Dembski, before he got hurt, he was doing a pretty good job making this Alouettes defense suffer just a little bit.
And seeing what Brady Oliveira was able to do out of the backfield tonight. Last week, obviously, it was a Hatcher for BC. It was 11 for 11 targets to receptions. Mm-hmm. Brady tonight was 9 for 9, along with his 130 plus yards. And I think what's kind of frustrating for me, particular, and I'm sure for Alouettes fans too, is that how many of those receptions and targets were just out of the backfield. And it just seemed to be just a year ago that the Alouettes were one of the better teams, if not the best team in the league, when it came to using their wide receivers out of the backfield for short hitches. And that's just not happening this year.
This is where, I completely understand why the Alouettes decided that Walter Fletcher wasn't going to be part of the equation in 2025, but tonight could have used the Walter Fletcher. As far as his, as I said, one of the best, if not the best two-way player in the Canadian Football League last year, they could have used someone that can run the rock and catch it as well. I mean, just like what Brady Oliveira did tonight.
Oh, yeah. He was the best two-way player. Exactly what Walter Fletcher was last year. And just the last couple of years, again, it's something that just may need to be slightly modified. And the other thing, too, and we're talking about defense itself, Cliff. Last week, I think BC's second down conversion rate was over 60%, or very close to 70.
Yeah.
Tonight, Winnipeg's was at 59.1. And to me, it's another stat that I've started looking at this year. I don't know how much it is really looked at when it comes to Joe fan, but I know I think a lot of the stat guys who want to look at this stuff. I think it just goes to show you how good your success rate is on second down. Shows how well you're doing offensively.
Well, that's it. It's also about keeping yourself on the field, moving the chains, staying on the field, keeping the defense on the field, and gassing them. I mean, if your quarterback's able to convert on second down more often than not, that means you're still going. You still have the opportunity to put points on the board, and you're getting the defense tired out, and they're not going to have an answer for you. But by the time the fourth quarter rolls around, these guys are sucking wind because, offenses is just carving them up, and that's troublesome. I mean, especially when we saw how powerful this defense was to start the year.
Yeah, because they so few. That's the thing. And tonight, the Owls once again had sub 40% on second down. They only converted 7 of 19 second downs tonight out of the 49 offensive plays that they had.
And 2 field goals and a touchdown simply are not going to cut it against the Blue Bombers, even if they're not quite the Blue Bombers they've been in the past couple of years.
And I think that I agree with you on that. And also tonight, I think, I don't know if they pointed it out on the broadcast, on the TSN or RDS broadcast, but out of the blue, Chris Strevler, who we've known has been an Alouettes killer before in the past, was lining up at wideout.
Yeah.
Wideout. And we did speak with another former Alouettes employee tonight who was over on the Bombers side now, and did confirm that Strebler was in there tonight because of the two big name wide receivers that went down. So not only were the Blue Bombers able to do what they did tonight offensively, but they also did it with two big names out of the lineup and had to use Chris Strebler as a wideout.
That's it. You get, this is what I talked about your depth and making sure that they can rise to the occasion when their number is called. I mean, again, not great to have Nick Dembski and Jarrett Stearns go down to injury. Those are two big weapons for the Blue Bombers, but you got Chris Strebler, who seemingly is like a Swiss Army knife. You can use him any which way, and he's going to do great things for you. I mean, it's incredible. Speaking of injuries, by the way, I think the Alouettes did come away unscathed. Thank goodness, that seems to be. And I think also a plus two is that James Morgan was held upright the entire game. He was. He just, unfortunately, definitely felt a lot of pressure though, because he rushed a lot of his passes, and I think that's the reason why he was throwing so many of these quick outs that just barely went anywhere. Yeah, and this to me, I think this is literally was a sign of the game itself. You know, Owls, Bombers won the coin toss deferred. Decided to take the ball. Owls got the ball to start the second half. The Owls did not have a very good first half offensively. At that point, BC, I think, almost had 10 extra minutes time of possession at halftime. Winnipeg. Winnipeg. Sorry, I did. Yeah. I'm reverting back. I need to go see my shrink about last week again. A little PTSD. Yeah, a little bit. But Winnipeg, again, as I said, plus 10 at halftime. Alouettes came out and dominated the third quarter. The problem is, though, they held the ball for approximately 11 minutes or so, and had 3 points to show for it. Again, 3 points to show for it. And that was the last point, actually, of the game to show for it. Again, as I said, you're not going to beat any team really, truly, by just kicking field goals. It's certainly not Winnipeg, especially whatever happened at halftime. To realize you're only down by 6. Like the fact that the Alouettes were only down by 6, and I'm sure Winnipeg were insulted only being up by 6, and they made the adjustments they had to in order to get this W, whereas Montreal did not. No, even despite that, again, and the Alouettes end up, by the way, having the Bombers ended up being up by 11 minutes by time of possession at the end of the game, because they did dominate the fourth quarter. They did. They really did. I mean, Owls had two turnovers on downs. Again, it was things that do need to change for this Alouettes team coming back from the bye. Again, the good news coming from Joey Alfieri earlier this week at practice is that some of these guys who are on the 6th game have started unofficially practicing, so to speak. So I guess the only thing you say at this point is wake me up when August ends, because this has been a month to forget for the Montreal Alouettes. One can only hope that after Labor Day, and a lot of people will say the games really don't matter until after Labor Day in the Canadian Football League. Right. If that's the case, then hopefully Montreal will be back, rested, refocused, re-energized. They're core players that they need to basically get to Winnipeg and play in the Grey Cup game. If they're back and ready to go and back to the form that they were showing earlier this year, then things will be okay. But like I said, this has just simply been a month to forget for this team, and I'm just as happy to let her go. Yeah. So much film has been burned. So much film. I'm surprised there's not a smoke warning or something like that in the city. So, but yeah. Much bacon will be eaten. Yeah. Yes, much bacon. Just over 20,500 showed up here at Percival Molson tonight. Owls lose again, but still, fans did still stay for most of the game, which was good. A good sign. I'm hoping that we've passed that point here in Montreal with fans that despite, here we go again, they're kicking us out. But still, the fans still stayed, and that was a plus, obviously. So, say what you will about Alouettes Nation, but they will show up. They will show out. But this team now has to start giving them something to cheer for, because you can only build up so much goodwill. Sooner or later, you got to hold up your end of the bargain, and you got to start producing those dubs again. So, let's get these players off the 6-game list, get them back on the field, and get this season back on track.
Exactly. If you missed any part of this broadcast, make sure that you head over to X, Facebook, or YouTube, as it will be there on archive. If you are watching us on YouTube, make sure you do hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, leave a message for us. We want you guys to chime in. A little bit harder to read the your comments tonight as we're here at the stadium, but we still like to see them either way. Hasn't been decided yet. As we know, the team is on a bye this week. Cliffy and I are putting our heads together, and we will let you know if there will be a show this week. So stay tuned. But other than that, again, Owls lose to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Go 4 straight losses on a bye, and let's hopefully they can get right and get ready for their next opponent.
They have to. Simply put, they have to. So there's it's crazy to think that 2/3 of the season basically are done with, but there is still racetrack left, and that's the beautiful thing about this, Tim, is that there's still a chance for this team to get it together, to figure it out, and go on a run. And
remember 2023.
Exactly.
Even when we spoke with Sneed tonight, the exact same thing.
That's it. And if nothing else, that's a hell of a blueprint to follow. So,
Yep, exactly.
All we can say, Alouettes Nation, CFL fans, is if you're backing the Alouettes, keep the faith. These guys aren't giving up. That's the thing. No, no matter how bummed out they were at this loss, and how basically the month of August has been, there still is no quit. There's no giving up. There's no throwing in the towel. This team, they're going to get right. They're going to get it figured out.
Yep.
And my hope is that by the time November rolls around, we'll look back at this time and we'll be laughing our asses off.
Let's hope. Again, we appreciate everybody who has joined in for Flightdeck Live for the post-game show. We appreciate every single one of you. So, for the last time here at Percival Molson Stadium, Alouettes do lose to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. For Cliffy D, I'm Tim Capper. We'll talk to you soon.